Hello, 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 hello. Oh, hello, and welcome to Nation Fan TV. I am Bilo. I am your host, and this is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs Football Club. And today, we are talking about the biggest, probably one of the most controversial topics that you can talk about when it comes to Kaizer Chiefs, because as we know, the Kaizer Chiefs fans, we love Khune, and he's been our legend for the longest time, and people just want to see Khune play forever for the Chiefs. And if you're wondering why I'm not showing my face yet, it's because I have a problem with my camera to begin with. But also I am trying to get the members into the video. So I shared the link for the members of the channel Uguti. They can join the chat so that we have more interactive and live interaction with the fans as well of the team. Uguti Ngabi Mngete who's always talking, but other people who want to have an input can also be able to speak. Well, fortunately and unfortunately for now, it's still limited to just members of the channel. But yeah, so maybe if one of those guys decides they want to join the call, as the call is open as we speak, then we might just have a guest on the show today. Because as I said, I want people to join the channel and to join the call and be part of the call as well. Yeah, so this is me waiting for someone to join. But anyways, I think in the Khune, as I said, it divides a lot of people because of who Khune is, and we have different thoughts about Khune as a person. Some people are saying, oh no, Khune is finished. Some people are saying, no, Khune can still give a team a lot. Khune still has a leadership that can help a team, blah, blah, blah. But if we're being honest, some people will argue with Khune being there, we also didn't get what we're expecting from him. As such, then people are saying, Khune, leadership yakhe is not, or simply put, people will say things like, no, leadership Khune is overrated. In a way, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that's what people would say. And I would say from my experience, from what I saw when Khune did play, was that the experience that people were talking about so much, I did not see that happen. I just saw Khune, I think, under pressure now and not performing, which once again goes against the whole notion of why people wanted Khune to be played, because they were saying he's going to bring balance, he's going to bring order into our starting 11. I mean, basically, is going to help our center backs to perform better. But what do you know? None of that happened. And then the question was, then why did we even play him in the first place? So it's a tricky thing. And now, on top of that, this season we've been talking about how much Khune is needed, but still, even this season, he still got some injuries and missed some crucial matches. And Peterson had to step in, and when he stepped in, Peterson, he played really well. As such, we did not miss Khune, and that just added to this whole thing. Uguti, kahle, do we actually need Khune in the team anymore, or has someone actually come and taken his place on the team? I'm going to have a weird setup because I'm kind of doing this on the fly now at this point, because the camera just decided it's not gonna show. So now I'm stranded and I'm just using my voice. And I know some people that is like a turn off for them because they want to see my face, but the camera is not showing my face, or itself, it's not showing. So that's why you're just seeing a blank screen over there that's not showing my face. Anyways, Wayman, I know you are here on the call right now. I said I wanted to see if this thing can work. Can you try joining so that you can join by your audio, and then we can hear you as well on the video? So let me just wait for you and see Uguti, can you join? Just click on the link and try joining. As for you guys, as you are joining, please do like the video. Obviously, you know the game. We like the video so that more people can see this video as well. And don't forget also to vote. There is a poll there that's saying, should Chiefs extend Khune's contract? And so far 70% of people are saying yes and 30% are saying no. And we were supposed to actually talk about this yesterday, but since there was that whole thing, Yoguti, what's this thing? Since yesterday we had a problem, Yoguti, not problem, but we're discussing more, Yoguti, like what's this thing? Oh, the signal is so bad. Discard. Sorry, man. We're talking about other players and we ended up just talking about two players. So today, I want us to continue and talk about Khune specifically, because he's one of those that would be controversial, because I'm sure, Futa, I will stop saying I'm sure, but it's probably likely if we have the same conversation about Uhlanti, we might have a higher percentage of people who will agree on the decision what the team should do. But with Khune, I am expecting people are going to be divided fairly. So that is why I have the poll, and I want to see how many people think that. And by the way, I also want to know if you say Chiefs must keep Khune, on what grounds? What makes you say Khune should stay? And if you think Khune should go, also tell me what makes you say Khune should go, because we want to know. We want people to say things and support themselves, because I feel like one of the things that we must avoid is, obviously it's difficult as fans to just say we are purely objective, yeah, because most of the times what happens is that we are subjective, because, well, we are fans, and most of the things that happen is that we love the Chiefs because of our feelings and how they made us feel, and that's how we ended up loving the Chiefs. It wasn't really just logic that made us follow the team. So that is why Vele, as a football fan, it's not always just straightforward to go, oh no, Mina, I love the team because of 1, 2, and 3. But sometimes there are things that you can't explain. You just love the team because of certain players, and when certain players are taken away from the team, then people start having a beef with the team. For instance, once Khune starts being benched, then all of a sudden people get mad at the coach, they get mad at everything or everyone who is involved with the decision making with him. So that is why I'm saying it won't be easy for someone to just say, oh no, Mina, I want Khune to stay just because, so and a lot of us, if we're being honest, a lot of people are not honest when it comes to their assessments. Why do they want Khune to stay. Some people will just say no because of experience. Okay, yes, there we are. There's my face, but the lighting just so dark. It's so dark. But anyways, but personally, I think Khune should be moving on to but he should be moving on to being a goalkeeper coach. Like, he's been around the team and he knows a lot of things about the team, and that is why I feel like that position would suit him better. And I've seen him, he has already started training with attending our classes to Guisafa and training and all that stuff to get a license. Okay, but I am still in that thing. Khune staying with Chiefs at this point, it's once again another case of a player on a huge salary just staying there for the vibes. And there are players who could be played in that position, or who could be paid the money that he's earning, and instead they're not being paid that money because there's someone who's getting paid. And it's harder to increase the salary abanye abadlali because you already have players who are on high salaries like Khune, and they are not actually giving Chiefs anything anymore except some injuries. And I will not question his love for the team. We're not sitting here trying to question whether or not Khune is loves the Chiefs, right? That's not the question. We know what he is committed to Chiefs. He's been the Chiefs for the longest time. He's been with the Chiefs through ups and downs, and his love for the team, I wouldn't question it. I just think the time to go has come. Let me read my comments abantu. What are people saying? Again, sorry for my camera not showing. I messed up here, but it will be worth it if Umandla ended up joining this call so that I can see. Because all my hopes, the whole system is depending on the fact that I can't plug multiple things on my computer. So it's a long story. It's a long story. Maybe one day when I'm successful, I will show you the struggle. But as I was saying, I'm reading my comments. So the first comment, click, bang. No, close. Okay. The first comment, I can't even see it properly because now the other comments, and they're on YouTube now, but telling me to learn more. I don't want to learn more YouTube. Let me just do this. Okay, here we are. It's a load away baggage. Okay, first comment is from I can't see it. Wow, I really can't see the first comment. I only see the second comment that says extend, but he will be a good player coach as he transitions. Kusho Umandla, he's saying so if there are 4 keepers, he's number 4. That makes sense. So in a way, he's still playing, but he understands what his main position is not, or his main role or contribution to the squad is not to play, but is to actually be part of the coaching team. Hey Mandla, are you here? Hello. I'm trying to bring in Umandla to the show. So he's still trying to sort out his audio as well. Are you talking? Don't even know if I can hear you. But if I start hearing you, then I will know ukuthi you are within. But for now I can't hear you. Right. We are trying to open this page and hear what Mandla has to say on the side. Okay, Mandla, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Guys, forgive us. Speakers, Realtek. Yes, Mandla. Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now I can hear you. You are live on YouTube, so careful what you say.
We careful. Let me just try to fix my headset.
Okay, so in the meantime, while Mandla is fixing his audio, yeah. Okay. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, sir. Yes. Welcome to the show. Yes. So let's talk about Indaba Khune, ne? What do you think? What do you think? Should we let him go?
The thing about what I'll say about Khune is that I don't think we should let him go. I just think he should transition. When I say transition, I think you remember Andre Arensa when he was starting to like reach his 40s. What they did with him is that they made him like a goalkeeper.
I hope that's not load shedding because you're cutting.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, in case like there are injuries to the keepers, etc. So what I was saying even in the chat is that I think he should be the fourth keeper. So if Peterson Bavuma are competing for number one and then Mulif is also competing with them, he will probably be number 3 until he proves himself. But then Khune, it must be known that he's number 4 in case something like happens, and then we need to bring him in. But like slowly transitioning him out, so he will be doing goalkeeper courses, etc., and coaching more with these guys, etc. Because to be honest, I think before Khune, there was always a goalkeeper succession plan.
Sure.
When Brian Baloyi went out, it was like Fernandez. When Fernandez was overseas, then it was Khune. Like there was always a succession plan, but this time around, there is no succession plan. So it's kind of like we would rather keep him there to be a coach and still be within the system of Chiefs.
Now the question is, I completely kind of agree. Well, I kind of agree with you. My question is though, what about the salary? Because now he's basically being promoted, and yabo. So that's what I'm asking. What about that part? What happens with the salary part? Oh, I do know. Mandla, can you hear me? The experimentations we do on live television. Okay, so while Mandla is getting his communication back, hello? Okay, you are back again, but you had disappeared.
Oh, am I back?
Yes, you are back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you were saying?
I was saying in the salary, what do we do with it? Because he is earning an arm and leg.
In terms of salary, I think he must decrease because I don't think a lot of the coaches are earning what he earns as a player. But the salary must decrease because at the end of the day, it's long term. So he's like he can be a goalkeeper coach till the age of like 60. So it's like he'll always kind of have a job, and like so he must view it more the long term. That's how I view it.
I hear you. So now,
And plus, you'll be coaching for Bafana. That's what I'm sure of. I think he will also be a Bafana coach eventually. Like he'll also start being the coach for Bafana.
do you think it's a bigger gig though that he should even consider going for, to go to Bafana and not stay at Chiefs?
No, but I think they can do dual.
Oh yeah,
That's what
yes.
tends to happen. Yeah, so they do dual. So you can be a Chiefs coach, but when Bafana plays you and everyone's taking a break, you go with Bafana. Because most of our others, Zwane did it as an assistant. Our analyst, that analyst that people say they're not sure about, that video analyst, when Molifensiki was in charge, he also went with Arthur Zwane. So it can be a dual position, both goalkeeper coach for Bafana and Chiefs.
No, I hear you. I think this is good. I had to open the channel and watch the video and see if I can hear you properly.
Yeah.
I won't test. I won't say let's test it and show our faces, because that's another risk on its own.
Yeah.
No. So, Vela, while we're at the keepers, can we have this conversation once and for all? Who is our best goalkeeper this season?
This season, our best goalkeeper, in my opinion, is Peterson.
Explain.
I think it's Peterson because I think he's just communicated well with the team, with the defense especially. He's communicated well with the defense, and he's not our best distribution. Like Khune is our best, but like Peterson, with his throws, he's been doing well. Like when we're on counters, he always finds him etc. So he has been doing well with the counters, and communication at the back is good. My issue with Bavuma. I know everyone is like, they want Bavuma. My issue with Bavuma is I still stick to it. His positioning is very bad, and that's why he concedes goals, meaning that if someone shoots from long range, Bavuma will save that shot because he just has those reflexes to save like long ranges. But it's these, when the player gets close, it's like he doesn't know how to position himself.
I hear you. And that's the thing with Bavuma.
Peterson somehow always gets snapshots. Like when a player is in the box and quickly shoots, Peterson can react quick, but Bavuma never. In the box, Pelil. Once someone turns and but like that Nazir, the moment he finished, who was it? Ngcobo, it was over.
You're not getting anything else from him at that point.
That's my issue is if he fixes his positioning, he'll concede less goals than even Peterson, because that's how he's conceding. It's not that he's conceding the most hectic goals. He's conceding like simple goals that he can actually do better on. Because like that Sundowns game when they beat us like 4-1, I think it could have been 2-0 because he could have done way better than that. Like there are 2 goals there that I was like,
I found it hard to blame Peterson on that one, Shem, because I was like, Uvum.
Bavum.
Because I was like,
Mina, I won't lie. Mina, I'll blame you if it's something you can prevent. If you can prevent, like if Peterson, he likes coming out of the poles. If they hit him with a long range one day, we'll blame him because he can prevent those situations by reading the game and knowing when to come out and not come out. You see, so those goals that Peterson concedes where he's off the line, we will blame him for those goals. And
the Valley was under fire for those things. Guti people were like, what's going on? Why are you conceding these goals? And Valley, why are you out of your line in the first place? Because I think it was the game against Chipa where people started asking Guti, why Valley was he not there and blah blah blah. Let me read some of the comments from people. They say Uzabantul says, I think it's best for both parties to part ways at this point. My observation is that he has already exhausted all his talent over the years. Reading this comment, it makes me ask on Amandla would say, okay, there is me here thinking, wait a minute, why not just make him that coach then instead of having him as a fourth option? What's the difference?
I think for me the difference is a lot of the times the players aren't ready to become coaches. Like for instance, Bernard Parker, Chiefs didn't want to let him go as like I think they wanted to somehow keep him within the system.
We lost to man like bit. So I will continue. Like uchele kwi Pirates. Yeah. Yeah, just to take a tangent, I'm thinking of Uguti. There were rumors early on in the season they were going to come to Chiefs, and all of a sudden is at Amazulu. Like, what's the story there? Do you think he would have had a role to play with Chiefs, especially now, given Uguti we can't pass the ball to save our lives?
Don't create a position to better the team. So for instance, the striker coach thing, I think I remember telling you that there was a time, I think 3 seasons ago, Max Mapunyane was chatting to Bernard Parker. I think Bernard Parker won man of the match, and Bernard Parker was like, ask Max if Max can be his striker coach, and Max was like, I'll wait for Chiefs to contact me. You see, so this thing, there was already a chance for Chiefs to have someone who works with strikers. So there's always a chance for you to create something that will better. Like for instance, the young Zwane, Samkelo Zwane. Imagine if he had someone like Uyeye coaching him every day, positioning, and this and that. I think his game would like go so far, because now when we look at the coaches that are in Chiefs now, who really knows how to be a defensive midfielder? There, others one, Dylan Shepherd, these guys don't know like what it takes to be the best defensive midfielder.
Sure.
They don't even know what it takes to be the best striker. So how can they be?
Yeah, I just feel like,
how can they tell?
Yeah, go ahead. True.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, you can always use these players to better your team. So that Zwane and maybe any upcoming defensive midfielder, I think would do well with Uyeye as an advisor to him. But now we lost that. And now the only player who's there really is David Matebula. But he wasn't even a defensive midfielder, and he's more in development than he is with the first team. So you see, we lose a lot of good pieces, and we don't know how they assessed Uyeye. Maybe they deemed Uyeye not to be good enough for the team. That's another thing we don't know.
Yeah, because my thing is that I feel like we lose all of these players, we fail to transition them out properly. I'm looking at Ukatsando Guti, all of a sudden he's like everything to Sekou Khune. He's like their brand ambassador or something like that. And yet we Chiefs, we lack a defensive midfielder. Not good, I'm saying we should have signed him again. But
yeah,
just to think, wasn't there a better way of transitioning him out?
there was. Because if you actually look at Uyeye's growth, like when he was at Cosmos, how Jomo was coaching him. Jomo was like, it was before he was called Umudimo Paul. So it was all about doing a 1-2 pass, being a box-to-box player. Then when he got to Chiefs, what Stuart Baxter forced him to do, Stuart Baxter forced him to also be a tackler. So he must also know how to win the ball. He can't just be doing 1-2 passing and then he's not involved when it comes to defending. So you see how his game has evolved to the point of making Bafana and ending up being called Mudimo Ball. So now the young Zwane, who does he have to advise him to be better?
Sure.
Like in that position. When I look at the coaches we have, I don't see who knows that position. And even if let's just say there was a player who was better than Young Zwane, at least he would learn from that player. But now we expect Young Zwane to learn from Yusuf Martins, Tebe, and Nange Angek. When they are failing at that job, also Angek.
Hey, Mpo, because I see good you are also on the chat. You can also join. We always welcome more people to join the call. The link is on the membership group, members group. Anyways, let me continue reading other comments. Unati says, Ola Mpilo Nation. December, no Jiva or no Chiva says, Ola Kosi. Ole Khune ndithi makagcine because abasukulayo. I don't know what that means, but I think he's saying Khune must be kept. And then there is your comment saying you're trying to call. Unati says, I would like to be our keeper coach. He learned a lot from Reina. There is the name Mandla. Reina Dinklenker. It's an Afrikaner. Oh, it's the German. I believe he has a lot to offer there. Kuphume uMathibe lapha. uMathibe, last I checked, he is not a permanent coach, is he? Last I checked, it was just still.
Hey, I'm not sure about being permanent, but personally, I don't value him that much. But I don't know him as a coach. But I like when Chiefs signed him, I was like, but this guy's a keeper himself. He wasn't the best. But anyway,
he was always playing second fiddle to someone else.
You see, so that's why I'm saying, like, I think Chiefs, our structures have been so bad. Our hiring has been so bad. Like, I don't want to fault Muthiba. I don't know how he's doing with the players at practice. But ever since Lee Baxter and these coaches have come in, like, I think ever since Reina left Chiefs, our goalkeeping department has been a problem. There's never been a succession plan or anything like that. It has just been a problem. These goalkeeper coaches that have come now, we just have goalkeepers who just leak goals, and that has never been a Chiefs problem.
Yeah, like I never worried about the Chiefs and goalkeepers, like ever. It was like the one position where you knew to always had quality. But now it's like, man. Let me just read another comment from Spacey who says, I just think he should be goalkeeper coach and coach to development team. And Kaizer Chiefs are interested in Richards Bay goalkeeper Salin Mahula and Molefe will be promoted. Umlefe is technically promoted because I saw.
Yeah, Umlefe is promoted.
Yeah, Umlefe is promoted already. To a point, Oguti, there was a time where rumors started going around. Oguti, he wanted to leave the Chiefs.
And there's a rumor going around now that he.
He cuts when he's about to say something. You were saying there is a rumor going around. What's happening?
Oh, sorry. I'm saying there's a rumor going around that Umulife and Mdu's contracts have been extended by Kaizer Chiefs.
I even made a video about Egamdu. Egamlefe, I have a video that I'm planning to make. I think it's next week about that as well. Because I'm bringing this topic up, by the way. The video is going to come up next week or sometime, or maybe it won't, since we're now talking about it here. Uguti, they are planning Vele to use him as a replacement of Khune, which is like, okay, well, do that as well, as long as we know how we're going to use Khune going forward. Because if we just discard him, then it's like a waste of talent. Ngempela futhi. Let me now umpo says Itumeleng Khune Nation, Tumela Khosimpilo awe. Guys, please le commentan nithuleke nje niyasibuka namhlanje. Nifuna ukubona my beautiful face before you comment. my no, not beautiful, what am I saying? Handsome. Usimpiwe la Glakdile says Kaizer Chiefs is Sundowns retirement village. They must get Zwane or Onyango as they are close to 40 years. They did it to oh my days. They must get Zwane or Onyango as they are close to 40. They did it with Torrell, Pampela, Castro, Piliat, Toli, etc. As we talked about this yesterday, and we had a lot of back and forth, Mina, now about Upiliat, and because I feel like I'm getting at this thing, Yoguti, again, the retirement home, but I'm just thinking again of what has been happening. Good tweet today. I'm going to add something to the title of this video. Uguti, do you think when I get Velek, you were an anti-signing Charlie, right? Or were you for Charlie?
I was saying I understand if we don't sign him because of his hamstring injury. So from that standpoint, I understand if we don't sign him. But I was like, if let's just say Chiefs do sign him, he wouldn't be the
worst signing. Still waiting.
I'm saying he wouldn't be the worst signing.
Yeah.
Like we've had about Gay, I don't even know who was the other one, Koye or whatever his name is. But like we've had worst signings, and it's that thing I'm telling you, Uti. Some Zwane would benefit from having someone who knows that position. So that's why I'm saying he wouldn't be the worst, but he's not like a player I would want to sign, but he's not the worst. So if we do sign him, I'll celebrate because he is quality. But I think he'll still have injury problems because Zwane ball, it's demanding.
Which leads me to this. Okay, so let's say Chiefs were planning to sign Uchal at this point. Now the question that I have is, with this thing that has come out of Sundowns, Uguti and Abenombule, drinking and stuff like that, would you still go for such a player?
You see, the Mbule one and the Jali one is difficult for me because my issue is that these players have issues. When I say issues, I mean like Jali wants to play. There are players who believe they are the best. That's the arrogance they have. So when players are starting to perform, they don't like sitting on the bench. Like that is not what they are about. Which goes back to what I always tell people, Ngiti. With Mbule, he didn't want to go to Sundowns. He wanted to go to Chiefs because he knew going to Sundowns he's not going to play as often. But what did SuperSport do? SuperSport said, no, Sundowns is paying more, so we're not going to let you join. Obviously, this is alleged stuff, but like obviously what we're hearing is that SuperSport weren't allowing him to sign for Chiefs because obvious Sundowns was offering their 20 millions and Chiefs obvious offers their some so-called 8 million, you know. So he wanted to go to Chiefs, and I think they said he had already accepted the package that Chiefs was offering him, and he knew he was gonna play week in, week out, because who is he gonna compete with really in the midfield? But then SuperSport said no. And then you remember he had disciplinary issues where they were saying he's no longer wanting to train and stuff. But he was doing that because he didn't want to go to Sundowns. And eventually he was tired and he accepted and he went to Sundowns. So now he's at Sundowns and he's not playing, and he's having problems because of this issue that he wanted to play. Because remember, before Chiefs and Sundowns came, he was starting to make the Bafana radar now. Like Bafana they were starting to talk about him more. He was winning more players of the month. He's no longer playing, basically. So for me, these issues that is happening with them is from frustration. We're not making excuses. They shouldn't be drinking or whatever. But I feel like they could have been avoided if they allowed the players to go where they want to go. Because being released, I think there was a story, I'm not sure if you know the story, but there was a story of a player who came to, I think his name was like Silva or something like that. He came to Sundowns, and then before he left, Sundowns put a clause before releasing him saying he can't sign for any South African team for the next 2 years. And he was like, it's fine, because they knew if he just gets released, Chiefs was going to sign him, because we're dealing on a free agent.
That's our thing.
So you see, Jalit's probably the same thing. He's going through the same thing. He wants to be released, but they don't want to. They're trying to structure where he goes,
But he's out of contract in Charlie at the end of the season.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with SuperSport. They can leave him on the bench. It has been on the bench all season. What difference does it make?
It deep because
but I don't agree. But I will say I don't agree with players drinking and smoking weed, because look at Pagamani Mahlambi, a player we thought would end up playing in like maybe La Liga, maybe EPL. He had that kind of like talent. But where is Pagamani now today? He's not even signed to any PSL team, not even Mvela or whatever it's called today, but not even Mvela. He's nowhere.
No, I mean, I hear you. While we're here, maybe let me just let me bring in another player that is, we touched on Kama yesterday, Matoho. What do you think about Dube leaving Chiefs end of the season? Because his contract ends next season, but Chiefs is not using him at all.
With Dube, it's a difficult one, because like our last experience of Dube, he played well in my opinion. Even though Zwane, now that we beat Pirates, was basically saying we lost because Dube was there.
Exactly.
He didn't say it in many words, but he basically said we lost because Dove is not there. But that means he's saying Dube did badly.
That thing actually made me mad, actually, just a bit. Well, it didn't make me mad. It made me go like, how, Batong? What do you mean with the difference was the absence of Dove?
And so many entries in...
No, continue.
Oh no, I was hearing what you're saying.
No, I'm saying because he just said the difference was basically between the last game and this game was the presence of Dove. I'm like, that's indirectly saying the presence of Dube is the reason why we lost.
But I think we have to just be honest. There are players that coaches just don't like. For whatever reason, there are players. I'm telling you, Dube may go to SuperSport and become almost defender of the season. Ngcobo may leave Chiefs and go to Amazulu and be defender of the season.
Mm.
And then you'll be like, Mara Zwane, why? But it maybe just he doesn't like the player, or for whatever reason, I don't know. But like, yeah, I don't know. But he doesn't like the player, so the player will sit bench next season. So he might as well just go for his career.
Yeah, Shem. I do think that too, because he's like in his late 20s now, and you can't be staying with Chiefs to just sit on the bench. This is an experiment, guys, that seems to be working. I want to hear from you guys as well. Look, my comments. My computer is struggling. Like you can hear the fan. It's like but I'm trying to get people to the show like this. Umandla is the first guinea pig in trying this thing out, because wow, as much as I enjoy talking for the entire hour, it's also, well, I don't think I enjoy talking in the entire hour, but I don't mind, but talking to other people is also better. Okay, let's read these new comments from who basically I've just made Umandla a co-host. December Nochiva says Upumanyathi onosinceda MDC because he was very good. That's why I should come back to SA. I need to go to these natural things and see these things by myself, because there are many names that just get thrown out there and I don't have any idea who that player is or who that person is. Do you know who Manyathi is, man?
Yeah, I don't know who's Manyathi.
And it's Chele, guys, who's Manyathi? We don't know who Manyathi is. Let me read this other comment that says, how good is Molefe Vele? I feel like he's leaking goals lapha ku-MTC. Someone actually said that same thing, Mandla, about Molefe ukuthi he was demoted. If not you, because I didn't watch MTC, I won't lie to you. Ukuthi he was demoted kwa MTC, but then he got promoted to the senior team. According to you, do you know how true those reports are? Because some people...
Yeah, I won't say I know the reports, but I know from looking at the games. I forgot what that boy's name. I think it's Ngcobo or someone. They always have been favoring Ngcobo of Molefe, but I think because Molefe has been promoted to senior team, lately he has been being the number one coach in MTC. But in terms of Molefe as a player, he has the height, but I think he just needs to work on his movement. So, big players, sometimes they don't get down as far. So he has those issues of not being able to get down as fast as we would like. His distribution is good, but his other problem, a big problem I've seen with him, is that if you pass the ball back to him, his decision making on who to pass is not great. With Zwane ball, you need to be sure where you're gonna make the pass and stuff like that. So, but obviously he was making those mistakes earlier in the MTC. I'm not sure. Recently, he's been doing fairly well. I can't say he's been outstanding, but I think he's been doing better there. I think he's showing progress because what happened with Molefe, which for me was a disappointment, he was called up to the national team. I don't know if it was under 20 or under 17. That game he flopped. That first game, it was like a qualifier or something like that. He flopped. He flopped so badly. He never saw the squad again. They put another keeper thing from AX. He was bad. I won't forget that game. They were hitting him at shot. He was fumbling the ball. So, and he was slow. Like that thing I'm telling you, getting down, it's his biggest problem. So he needs to. He still is like work in progress, but he needs game time. That's you know, there are certain players who if you don't play them, you will never know. It's like Ubavuma. Before he actually played for Chiefs, injuries forced him.
Yeah,
like injuries forced him to play for us to know how good he
Yeah, and he actually had a very good run when it comes to when it came.
From now,
Yeah, continue, because Ubuti, you're saying?
no, I was saying Ubavuma, when he got his chance, he proved that he can compete for number one. But before the injuries, we didn't know how good he was really until he got his chance. So it's the same with Umulifa. We will never know until like they give him a chance. Like when we're playing like lower teams, lower division teams. But Chiefs, we always get beaten by in Nedbank Cup. These small teams always beat us, so they always make the best keeper start.
Hey, Kazrik is coming. Guys, please do like the video, by the way. I am enjoying a conversation here. We'll probably end the video in the next 10 minutes. So get your comments in, probably. Because I've hijacked someone and I have a camera problem here. Anyways, and if the video is shorter, then more people are likely to watch it and tell us what do they think about this experimentation with having live guests. December says, yo, ekajali indiza enhloko cause silele emdala yena for Chiefs. Nanku usibusiso Mthetho, usibongiseni Mthetho on Oma Obaso bet. Yo, I think indaba kajali vele, you are one of those people, December, that I agree with. Mini age shame is still a concern. As much as now Mandla, because you are sort of in that group that says he can teach the players his age and experience.
But if I have to give my final word on Ujali, for me, he must go retire a Pirates. He must go a Pirates. He must continue from where he left off, Lapa, and his career must end there. Teenagers, we don't want. We want to build new legendary player. Abu Jali must go back to the Pirates team.
And by the way, we've talked about this, but we skipped. I don't remember your opinion on this, because it's getting hard to go toxic. I mean, go hectic. What's your thought about numbers, specifically Egachal, 15 law for now got doctor? If he wants the 15 for real, what do you think? Is it a big deal in the Bahama numbers, or you don't care for numbers?
For me, Ujali, he must just accept. Number 15, he will go a Sportsman's Warehouse, I open printer, and then he'll wear it at home, maybe a Stratton or Emma Mall. But 15, then he only plays 5 games. No ways. Yeah, that one I refuse. There'll no ways that he like I said, the only player. Not that I'm going to give him the number. He has to prove it that he's good. Who I'm saying may have the talent to maybe, and I'm saying maybe, this is a big maybe, is Umfundo Vilakazi. He's showing signs, Guti, maybe. But even him, I think Utoli must give him a number 10. Like Utoli, that number is too heavy now for him. Utoli must take Yakambulu number 7 and then go and Jalo.
Oh, bad. And then Unati says Dube hasn't played badly. It's just that Zwane doesn't like him. Let's be realistic. I think, as much as Gwamina, I love defending Zwane at times. I just think a player like Ngcobo, Unjabulo Ngcobo, and Dube, they've been treated unfairly, if we're being honest. I don't see why Ukoneka and how Ukoneka is playing ahead of Ngcobo. I don't see how Ukoneka is playing ahead of Dube even, because Dube came on having not touched the ball the entire season, and yet he had a better performance. I don't know. What do you think about that situation?
Hey, you see, young, I think you know how I used to stand initially when they were all making mistakes week in, week out. I was like, with Ukwinika, the only thing I would say I like about him, he may make a mistake in a game, ne, but it won't affect his game afterwards.
Yeah.
So he may make a mistake, but he will carry on as if that mistake it won't hit his confidence.
Sure.
But what happens to Ngcobo is that if he makes a mistake and let's say the crowd turns on him, he becomes very emotional. But him as a player, I believe in him as a player. But I think that's why he's not being selected ahead of Ukwinik. That is my only the only reason I'm seeing why he's not getting selected ahead of Ukwinik.
Do you think Ukuthi it's possible?
Even though
Oh no, continue again.
I think I was saying I think Ngcobo is slower than Ukwinika in terms of pace, even though they're both a bit slow. But I think Ngcobo is slower than Ukwinika, which is his upper hand in starting ahead of Ngcobo.
Yeah. Yeah, ne? Yeah. I won't say I disagree, especially with the confidence part, because naturally I'm even thinking that could affect Zwane's decision making, because he might think Uguti this one, Ukwinika, at least he will still keep his head up even after losing. Because I even saw how Ukwinika actually on the what's this thing when we had what's this thing I'm trying to think when we had I'm adding this audio here when we had that game no, I'm forgetting. Yeah, against the Pirates when we won, he wasn't like mad showing to the fans Uguti he's mad. He was just like, no, we won the game and I'm happy with the team. Because usually what happens with other players when they have been hated by fans, when they make their comeback, they come back and just sort of put their hands on their ears and say, what were you saying, or something like that. But Ukwinika, they seem to understand the pressure that comes with playing for Chiefs. But then Ngcobo, they seem to crumble when they are faced with such pressure.
Ukwinika is a captain. He led his Stellies, so he understands what comes with that. So his leadership abilities, I think, is what makes him stand out ahead of Ngcobo. But like I said, for me personally, there are games I think Ngcobo could have started in defensive midfielder, and it would make us a more solid. Like the Arrows game, I think he could have come in as a defensive midfield at some point, just to give us more like protection when Arrows was coming.
Sure.
But our coach Zwane and I
yeah, at times Zwane will just do the things. Let me read. Okay, December is talking about Wellington Manyati, who wore jersey number 5 for Chiefs. I know Wellington Manyati. I do know Wellington Manyati, but I think I know the name, not actually when he played for Chiefs. But I don't know where Wellington Manyati is. That's what I will say to you, because why Kogic is Lewis. You wanna expose us, Uguti? I'm young, actually. And he passed away, actually. I think that's what it says here. On the 28th of Mr. Motaung sent a message of condolences to the legend of Wellington Manyati. Oh no, he lost his mother on 2009. not him, because it's in much. Hey, the mother exposed a much. Unathi says Lucas Uradebe Otovi to coach defense, Nengomashi to coach midfield, and Mark Williams or Max Mamponyana to coach the strikers, and of course Khune as goalkeeper coach. When I say it's not difficult at all, like it's not difficult at all, but for some reason it seems to me as if what seems to be so common seems to be common sense to us is not really common sense to management Chiefs. I don't get that.
He Chiefs. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Yeah. Anyways,
I think
yeah.
he Chiefs. You know what Chiefs? What happens with Chiefs? Chiefs doesn't want to be the leader in restructuring to do things that will work for the team. It's like if Sundowns tomorrow hires a midfielder, striker, and defender coach, you will see next season Chiefs will do the same. But it's gonna be like, Mara, why did you wait for Sundowns before you do these things? You see now Pirates signed the striker coach. Now others one was like, yeah, I think we need a striker. Ganti sonke lesikhathi, did you not see good our strikers up that we need a striker coach? So they wait for other teams to do things before they do them themselves, which is my issue with Chiefs.
Ganti Tina, are we not supposed to be trendsetters? Are we not like the biggest club in South African football? I know Sundowns.
I think we would be if Jessica Mutang was ahead of these things, because it seems like in marketing we're ahead of everything, but in the football side, we are just behind.
Oh, that's an interesting thing what Jessica has. Guys, please do like the video. Let's reach 20 likes at the very least. Jessica, it's interesting. I don't know whether it also has to do with the fact that she's a woman and she has to work extra hard to prove herself. She's not just daddy's little girl. And Oppo will be there like, I suck. Timaseka, you won't tell me nothing.
I don't know, but if there's one person who is doing their job properly, and it's like showing in results, it's Jessica. All the kids we've been having in the past seasons has been Jessica's team, to the point where across the world we get nominated as the best kids. I mean, even Nike stole our kit and decided to give it to Barcelona. So it shows you what Jessica and her team are doing. Like in terms of making Chiefs a brand all over the world, you don't have to ask twice, and that is Jessica has a footprint in that. But in terms of the football, where Bobby and Kaiser Jr. are involved, that is the problem. The problem is right there. Those two are not making the proper decisions there. Especially
Bobby Batung.
Hey, Bobby, I don't even want to talk about him. Next minute he'll come after us. But yeah, Bobby, he has been the worst person. But I always say it's interesting. If you like, I was reading an article. I think it's Kabamba Musasa, or someone like that. These guys always praise Bobby, like these old players. But it makes you realize, Guti, in the old times, Ukeza Senior was involved in who gets signed, etc., etc. And then Bobby would take care of those players, make sure you have the proper accommodation or etc., etc. But he wasn't involved always in the hiring on stuff like that. Well, it comes across that way because Kaiser Senior always had to sign off on players. But now that Bobby has been given the job to sign off, we've been seeing I will buy one get one free, and it was worse. Like I think Umsona was a double-edged sword, because we won that deal Umsona of buy one get one free. They thought it was now gonna work for every season, every player, etc., etc. And it has only worked for Musona. After Musona, it's just been questionable. Like there hasn't been anyone who stamped the authority.
And Tina, we don't want to diversify because I saw even with this thing now of transfer, what's this thing? Offer trials. They did it to do Caleb and he started scoring goals, and they did it to do Dove and he's been solid, and now it seems like they just want to do trials through and through, which is like, to me, yes, do your trials, but not all the time.
For me, the trial thing works, but you see, the issue is Mutau, the management, because it was very clear that Zwane saw something he didn't like about Caleb in his trials, despite him scoring 2 goals. You could tell Guti they weren't signing Caleb not because Chiefs didn't want to sign him, it's because Zwane wasn't sure about what he saw. But then it got to a point where we were starting the season without a striker. So we had to sign someone. And Caleb just had to was unfortunately the player who had scored 2 goals. You know, it was like Zwane had no other option. He was like, as him sign in again, I'll see what I do with it. But you see, the issue there is that means they never brought enough talent for Zwane to trial. If they're going to go the trial way, they didn't bring enough talent for Zwane to decide. If you bring Caleb and he scores 1 goal, and that time we didn't really have strikers, so we had about Dupree and whatnot. So obviously he will get 1 or 2 in a trial process. So but you will see his quality from day one. Good eye. Like for me personally, I watched Caleb's videos on YouTube. I know YouTube is not the best place, but I already saw good this guy.
Not make sure.
Like he is good for Amazulu, TS Galaxy. Like he will shine there. Like even Marumo Gallants, now they're playing in Africa, he will shine. But Chiefs, I know.
And I won't lie, Shema. If we can start blaming people, I would also say Mpilo should be blamed there, because I literally said this guy has scored goals, and my worry was you assessed him for such a long time. Why then not make like a decision that's proper? Not to go to you are still just keeping him waiting. Because this is where I wanted to go, Uguti. When you were talking about how they didn't bring him enough quality, Zwane, to trial in the first place, I was thinking, Uguti, why then would the Chiefs, or what kind of filters do they actually use to get people to come trial? Because we know by coming to trial, it's not guaranteed to go to you are going to be signed, right? But then there must be a filter in the first place, Yoguti. To even come and trial for a Chiefs, you must at least be 65% or rated around that percentage. And then when you come to Chiefs, we see actually with more coaching, you end up being a solid 75. But it seems like, yeah. Go ahead.
You see with the Caleb, when I just looked at the Caleb's stats as a player, now I was just saying, okay, let me look at his numbers on transfer market. This guy in his whole career, I think he's 24, but I think Chiefs is the team he scored the most goals in. Chiefs is the team he has scored the most goals in his career. He has doubled the amount of goals he scored at Chiefs in his career. Chiefs has made his numbers look so good now. Good transfer market. I'm sure a Qatar is thinking he's a star, but his numbers on transfer market were bad. They were bad. And my thing is that if you want a striker, number one, guys, a striker must know goals. Even if he's scoring in the lower divisions, at least you'll know he knows where the pole is. At least like Christian Sail. At least we know Guti, where he played, he knew where the goals were. Sure. He was scoring, he was assisting. So he may not be able to adjust the cheese, but you'll know Guti, he will give you something somewhere. He may not be the best, but he'll give you something. But Caleb, he wasn't scoring where he was. When I look at his stats, till today they depress me. This guy most. Can we even say he was a striker where he was playing? Maybe he was a winger. I don't know. But he didn't. He had like 4 goals. I don't know. He had like 4 goals his whole career. How do we select a striker like that?
Like, Mina, I would appreciate it one of these days if they just gave us a rundown of how they actually get to a point where they say, oh, this is the system that we use to, how can I say this, to kind of eliminate or see which players we can actually bring to Chiefs. So that's my thing, but it doesn't seem like they have a thing like that. Anyways, let's read the comments and then we can wrap up here. Okay, now Musizo was talking about your network connection. Since this comment, your network has been fine though. Your internet connection.
Yo, I moved around. I found the sweet spot.
Umsawenkosi Umsawenkosi says Ngcobo is way better than Kunika. Kuthi Zwane Khanda shisa. I like on this channel there are those who explain like you, like Abokhosi, they explain and explain and you can see where they're coming from, and then but at the end of the day you can tell what they're saying. Like, but Ukhosi got to a point where he's actually saying which is one is clueless, but at first he was like, okay, explaining, I'm frustrated, but he got to a point where I was like, no, he's clueless, he knows nothing, and and then you have the guys who won't even try and explain, like Omsawenkos. They will just say Zwane ukhanda shisa, and that's it. And then Arrow says Ngcobo is better than Khune. Dominic Ngcobo, that's another person who's Canada, by the way. I know that. So Marcos is Maningla. Aibo, yeah, no darling Ngcobo, Lord, not Ngcobo. Oh no, now saying promote Ngcobo. Anyways, Mpilo akakhohlwa number 15 uJali ka doctor kwakho uthi kwanaye sithanda ekhona lapho, not kwi-Kaizer Chiefs. Yeah, kahlalele no 10 wakhe.
We must give him a number 51 and tell him 15. He must just he must just check the mirror also.
Yeah, exactly what I was actually thinking about. If you look at the mirror, it's actually 15. And then Uzabantuli says, for me, Khune is not Chiefs kind of defender. Leadership skills won't save us. Sometimes arrogance from Ngcobo is needed to boss every so-called top strikers. Can we talk about Khune a bit? I feel like I should really, guys, maybe you guys should sign a petition. Uguti, someone must come and write these topics, because now we've talked about so many things. So it's no longer just about Khune. We've talked about Njabulo Ngcobo. So after this video, I must change the title. Yeah, we must talk about that. I must add those things.
But I will say, Khune, when he was at Stellies last season, I didn't understand why people were raving about him, saying he's a top defender. Me, I still saw the Khune of Chiefs. I'll be honest, that was me. I was like, yeah, he's sharp with Stellies, but he hasn't shown me anything that will make me say, pay like 6 million for that guy. He'll fix your problems. But at the same time, I was like, maybe Chiefs saw something that maybe I wasn't aware, because I wasn't watching Stellies games like that. I was just watching about Dupre's highlights and stuff like that. But like, now that he's here, I still stay by that. He looks like the Khune of development days. He still looks like that Khune. It's just that now he has more of a mature head on his shoulders, and he has like leadership skills. But for me, it goes back to the issue of how do we sign players? Because one, we left Undlon, we picked Umat. I'm not bashing Umat, but I'm just saying, if you compare the two players, I think we would have done, we needed someone like Undlondlo to control our midfield, but we left him. So those kind of players we left. So for instance, instead of signing Khune, we could have signed Umteto. You see, it's still the same deal with Stellies. It's just the people who are in charge of signing. That's the problem. And I don't know if Zwane was involved in the Mat one, because Mat, I will say this, Mat is a very good player. Usitebe is a very good player. But at some point, you need to understand who you are as a team. And if that person will match what your team, like the value of your team. And those players, if Umat and Stebe were bench players, in Chiefs and there were two other defensive midfielders who are way stronger than him, that's a different story. It's like, oh, if you look at Manchester now has what? Oh, Casemiro. But the person behind Casemiro is like McTominay. But you can never say those players are equal.
Yeah.
But McTominay works. Like, he's like a mud. He's worth being on the bench of Manchester. But to start him ahead of Casemiro, that will never happen. And that's what I feel like Chiefs does not have the defensive midfielders and center mids that we need. The reason why I say this is because Umdu hasn't been released. The Umdu we're seeing today is not the Umdu what his potential can be. The Dupree we're seeing today is not the potential we know who Dupree can have. Even Usail, even Ngcobo, because of the people who are sitting at the spine. The spine is what will drive the team. And if the spine is not smart, doesn't have the passes, doesn't know how to control tempos, it will never. It's like now we are forcing Chiefs to make that all players are equal. They must just work for each other. But to win a title, you need a player who can outthink when things aren't working.
Sure. Yeah. No, and Omar, it's a shame. There are some players that seem like they are on fire, and I was excited for him. I just want to see how he would perform if there was a defensive midfielder, because I feel like he sort of got a bit better when Blom was there. But all of a sudden, he hasn't wowed me. I would be lying if I say I have been wowed by Umat.
You know what I'm saying, Matt, ne? Let me tell you, if Umfundo Villagaz gets the work rate, because let's be honest, Ngcobo is gonna sit bench. Ngcobo is gonna sit bench because of Mdu's work rate. Mdu's work rate, both in defense and attack, will always be the difference between why Ngcobo and him starts. Because I think in intelligence, Ngcobo is probably the better player. Ngcobo is just that smart. He can solve difficult situations in midfield. But Mdu just has the ability to cover ground. And I feel if Umfundo Villagazi has the legs like Umat to cover ground, I'm telling you, Matt will sit bench.
Yeah.
If that boy gets the legs, because that is all Matt has over so many of our midfielders. Like Unange has no legs. Ukol Alexander has legs, but you know his injuries, so it's killing. Yeah, age and injuries is killing him. So the midfield, Umat and Usteb, even the small Zwane, Usitebe has taken over from him
because of the legs. Exactly.
I'm telling you, if it wasn't for the legs covering ground and stuff, there's no way Ustebe would be ahead of that boy. But because that boy is not covering the right kind of ground, is not tracking back properly, Ustebe will always be ahead of him. That is unfortunately the case.
Yeah, that just sucks. Anyways, let's go to the two last comments. Usiz is saying, has our development team chicken in? Stopped producing any new talent in Amatot. Lola Podmendieta, what are the chances we could get him realistically? I mean, chicken in, I don't know. I think we have stopped scouting there. I think Chiefs has moved further north with their scouting.
I don't think it's scouting. I think they are charging now. They are charging. You know why I say that?
Oh, yeah, I get it.
When we signed what you call Knowledge Muswana, Chiefs signed him for like almost a free, and like they gave that team like what 100k or 500k or something like that, like not a lot of money, ne? But then Chiefs sold Knowledge Musoma to Hoffenheim for plus 30 million, and then the chicken in didn't see that 30 million, even like 2 million of that 30 million. There
was no sell-on clause,
and they complained. And they complained to be like, how is it that we give you a player that is so talented that you sell for 30 million and we don't even get a share of that money? So what they then started doing is charging. So when Chief says, give us that player for free, Ichikinin will be like, we know your story, 5 million. to buy this player.
But I don't get it, Nabo. Why would they complain? Because just put a sell-on clause, which they did with Utinage Hadebe, right? Which was also like 200K.
But the issue is Bobby Angit. So if you have someone who wants to take the upper hand, because I think it's a similar situation to Lebogang Manyama. Hey, there's a big debacle on why Chiefs didn't sign Lebogang Manyama from AX Cape Town first before he went to SuperSport. And they said it was Bobby. Bobby did something. It's alleged that Bobby did something in that deal that didn't make the parties happy. I don't know what it is. Obviously, it's alleged news, but they are saying. And Lebogang Manyama said the day he retires, he will reveal that full story of what happened. But now that he signed for Chiefs, I don't think we'll ever see that story.
Because it's in English and Doles. Someone told me, I won't say his name because I want him to be my source. He told me good Makarenga was going to come to Chiefs, and then Bobby disrespected Makarenga's parents. And yeah, he told me that Uguti everything was setting up. Good Makarenga was going to come to Chiefs, and then Bobby did something to piss off the parents, and then Chiefs ended up losing out on Makarenga.
But let's be honest with ourselves, Mpilu. Like, let's look at the teams that don't want to work with Chiefs. Like the teams that they don't want to see Chiefs management even at their door. Cape Town City, Cape Town. Today, I mean, there was a time we got about Morgan Gold and all these players. So why today is it difficult for us to get Abo Sipombule, Abo Musheho from Cape Town City? Why is it difficult for us to buy these players? It's because something happened in these boardrooms, or even Amazulu. Yeah, I wanted to say even Amazulu now doesn't want to even see us. It's because they feel disrespected by how we conduct our business. And I don't know what happens behind the scenes, but those leaders feel disrespected by how we do business, how we go and sign players. Because now SuperSport was saying, getting angry because we signed to Titlock, but it was like, you see, it was that thing of, I need you guys in an sell us and fleurs. So we made sure good all one
will screw you over. Yeah, because I'm just thinking, also SuperSport, yes, I feel like they are crazy in a way. I'm sorry for saying that, but everyone knows Uguti, it's open season. Once a player is on his last 6 months, you know what you screwed up if you let the player go to his last 6 months, because by law anyone can poach the player. Ethics don't work here, because if ethics work, Wabono SuperSport, they wouldn't be just selling players to Sundowns, because ethically that's not making sense for the league, right? But they do it, so I think there wouldn't be like the voice to complain about us going behind their backs. However, that's not to excuse Bobby, because Bobby, to me, seems like he feels entitled to the things.
As much as, you know why I say these things, is that these big teams, these guys were selling because of like what Sundowns is offering. But I feel when Keza Mutang was there, they respected him so much that they were willing to have a sit down and negotiate, even if Sundowns came with more money. Somehow Keza Mutang has had the respect of these guys that they were willing to sell a Mbule for, instead of maybe that Sundowns plus 15 million that they paid to Chiefs for maybe 10 million. They were willing to like compromise for Chiefs, even if they're not getting the full value. But now they don't care. It's like the Cape Town City and the SuperSport. They're like, if we set the player, if Sundowns is offering 20 million, when I bring 21, Finish and clear. Like we're not going when I bring to they don't wanna hear go to you okay some son I no bring 21 million we'll talk from there.
He has no
So
street
that's how
credit, Ubobi.
that's why I'm saying when Kaiser was there were players that were we got there and maybe Pirates offered more, maybe Sundowns offered more, but we still got those players. The question is why can't we do that today? And it's the respect that these guys have in the boardrooms of the other teams.
Yeah, ne? Yeah, shame. These guys are commenting, but this is, I swear, these are the last comments we read, and then we're done with the show for today. Uthi ubumsa wenkosi kwenika uphakamisa tandla ekubeni kuthi amake ibhola. This is disgrace. Yeah, it annoyed me when he did that thing. He was pointing, I don't know at what. And then Usizwe is saying Bobby has turned away another of the players. Even Erasmus was turned away by Bobby to join Sundowns the first time. I mean, Erasmus, I did kind of want him at Chiefs because we're already looking at older players. But then it would seem like I'm off a double standard because I say Ujali is old and shouldn't sign for a Chiefs. Yet Erasmus, I just felt like, and that was before we signed.
And for me, Erasmus is a Chiefs player. For me personally, I've always deemed him a Chiefs player. He looks like he could fit into our culture.
He does. I'm a movement and the finishing yakhe in the box. Erasmus is just, he would beast at Chiefs if we go back 4 years. And then the last comment is Makoka Puleng says, "Sure, Kosi in Jakarta. I told you our boys will win the derby. I'm in Surabaya actually, but yeah, it's okay." Jakarta is the capital city. I told you they will win derby. Watch out this weekend, by your boss. I reject. I reject that. I reject that. I reject that. I reject that. And then Msawenko says Matt is not Chiefs material. He has shown that he can't pass forward. What kind of a midfielder? And then Umkoka is again saying, "Man, in Jakarta, I saw 2 or 3 upcoming games or DSTV. Trust me, we might end up being second on the league." That's all I want, Velek. But I don't know, Mandla, what do you have to say about the upcoming games and stuff?
I won't lie, the upcoming games, for me, if we had a Chiefs that just plays a Chiefs standard, for me they were all guaranteed wins, except maybe a Cape Town City draw, maybe like at least the last game. But like the rest, I don't see why we would be drawing or losing those matches. But because we are Kaizer Chiefs, and other Zwane will one day put in a player. The Arrows game till today I'm depressed. I'm like, how did we lose that game? Like Khune, Arrows, Amazula, we lost 4, but till today I'm like, Anja, like, those games. I don't see how we lost those games. I don't know.
You don't see them coming. I think the only loss that we saw coming was Cape Town City this season. It just felt like nothing was happening for us throughout that game. But the rest of the games that we've lost, it's just good. You are down. It's like a jab knockout.
And we have Amapati. How come other teams make mistakes, but we don't score? But Tina, the one mistake we can make one mistake that whole game, and we'll lose 1-0 straight.
Exactly.
Why, guys? Like every time our defender makes a mistake, it's immediately a goal. Marumo Gallants, Quinica doesn't kick the ball properly, it's a goal. Kanja. And that time Sekota missed the 1-on-1. These guys, they'll break you, I'm telling you.
Yeah, ne? So guys, this is the time we call upon you to become the member of this channel. The link is pinned up here. You can just become a member. And as you can see, there is now an added benefit. You can join the show. Just like Ukosi Mandla today and be on the show. we will try and obviously get more people to be involved on the show. It's just that this one was my guinea pig that allows me to make him my guinea pig. But other members as well can join and become and be in the show. You get priority reply to our comments and all that good stuff. So please join the membership and also help the channel grow. Unati deleted the comment yakhe. He was talking about ukuthi he was emphasizing what we were saying, Mandla, ukuthi even Umatoho he came to Chiefs despite the fact that Sundowns were going to pay more for him. The poll is in. 74% says Khune's contract should be extended and 25 says no out of the 71 people who voted. Mandla, my brother, my bro, my Khosi nation, thank you so much for joining for joining me and being my guinea pig. Guys, if you're watching this after the live stream, tell me what you think of this format. Do you like it? Because after all, I aim to please. I don't want to make content that you won't watch. So yeah, ningitshele. Otherwise, until next time, remember, equals aliphela umoya. And we are out. Wait, let me end the stream. All right.